So a slight bright spot in the crypto markets today, Bitcoin gaining some traction, trying to recapture this trend line right here. Now again, this was the trend line that marked these little high pivots over here. We then broke above it. We created that bull flag. Basically the low of the bull flag was right there. Remember, the bull flag did play out. It was a short-lived micro bull flag, went kind of right up to this area here and then dumped out. Now, we closed below here. We started to consolidate and break down. Now, the positive factor here, Bitcoin has, at this point, recaptured that line. Now, again, the day is not over. Bitcoin still has about 4 hours remaining in the trading day from when I'm doing this video. So we have to monitor to see whether or not it does hold above that line. Again, the line to me looks like right around 16,775, give or take, and right now we're at 16,887. So right now that is a positive factor. It is holding above, but we need to see if that continues. I think any way you cut it, this is probably the best we could have hoped for Bitcoin because, again, Bitcoin was looking nasty. Again, is the equity market, the stock market, getting a little bit of a bounce? Let's flip over to the S&P 500. And the answer is yes, a very small bounce. Not much, but you are seeing a little stabilization in the asset prices in the stock market. And again, maybe translating over to a little bit of a bid in the crypto markets. Now, the bigger question is, we know Bitcoin generally has held up better than a lot of the altcoins. So how are the altcoins doing? Let's start with Ethereum, which is obviously the biggest of the altcoins. And look at that. Nice little pop right off support here. Again, that is good because you are starting to make a bearish, immature pattern. This now negates that, at least at this point. So all of a sudden, and again, this is fascinating. This is how amazing charts are, right? Charts will be kind of going one way, and you'll get this amateur beginning pattern, and you're like, uh-oh, could this develop into a mature bear flag? And then all of a sudden, boom. The chart pops up. Now it's negated. It changes the odds precipitously from favoring one way to maybe slightly favoring the other way. Now, by no means does this make it a bullish chart. It just takes away some of the bearishness. Same thing with Bitcoin. It doesn't really make it into an unbelievably bullish chart. It's not like all of a sudden there's an 80% chance of Bitcoin going sharply higher. But what it does is it now takes the probabilities of further downside, which were very high as of yesterday, and now decreases them close to about 50%. All right, and again, we're talking very near term here. I want to be clear on that. This has no impact on the midterm, which is ultimately still downside. We're talking about very, very near-term price action here. All right, so in terms of upside, I want to show you this, guys, because it's pretty darn cool. Look at this low of this consolidation pattern right here. Put a line right there, and what do we get? We get the high of today. So there's always a rhyme or a reason why something is happening in a chart. Sometimes, honestly, even I can't figure it out, but I would say 9 out of 10 times at my level of technical analysis, I can figure it out and decipher what the heck is going on there. So pretty cool stuff there. And again, that gives you a reason why there's a little bit of resistance right there, probably why Ethereum has stalled right in that vicinity. All right, so now if we can get above this, could we potentially retest this high? Yeah, there's a possibility. I think you first would have to get through this area right here. Again, very clearly, and again, you can see pivot high, pivot high, pivot high, 3 highs right there, and then it backed off before it pierced. Never confirmed above that one, by the way, but it touched this upper one. So therefore, that now is your next resistance, only if you get through this 1225 level on Ethereum. To the downside, if we break this low of around 1155, we're then headed to about 1075 on Ethereum. Let's take a look at Cardano. Cardano getting a little bit of a bounce. I never added to my Cardano because it didn't technically touch my line. I was waiting for basically sub 25 cents. We got very close to that, but we didn't get there. And again, so I stayed on the sidelines. And that's just an aspect of basically discipline where I've learned, and I've learned the hard way, frankly, that you have to be disciplined in any trading game. Trading is hard enough. Swing trading is hard enough. Investing is hard enough. If you're not a disciplined investor or trader, it becomes exponentially harder because you start kind of wavering on levels. You buy too high, you short way too low, and it just becomes more of a 50-50 game versus a higher percentage win rate. All right, let's take a look at some of these other ones. Near was at a level yesterday. It did pierce that level. I ended up not picking any up yesterday as well, but nonetheless, you are getting a tiny little bounce. I'm going to wait on this just to kind of see how it plays out here, as again, the crypto markets are very sketchy right now. Even with today's bounce, there's still some hardships out there. I still think ultimately the market, the Bitcoin market, will bottom probably in that first half of 2023. I'm leaning towards May or June, probably around 9,000 and change, give or take, and then ultimately it's going to coincide with the regulation that will bring transparency to the environment, to the crypto sphere, if you will. All right, let's take a look at Matic here. Polygon, nice little bounce. Polygon closed below this trend line. Notice how it's stalling right at that trend line now. That trend line is minor resistance. Can it get back above? That's going to be important for it to recapture that. And then it has to take out this high area right here. That's kind of, after you fell, that was your highest bounce. To really continue momentum, you're going to have to take out about 82.5 to 82.75 cents on the upside, and then maybe you can trade back to 89 cents, which would be this low area of that bullish pattern that basically ended up failing. All right, taking a look at Polkadot here. Polkadot, same thing, right off of a pierce of this level, getting a small technical bounce. Again, downsloping trend line shows us that there is support there. It hit it here, it pierced it here, and both times we're getting little bounces. Question is it going to turn out to be a big bounce or just a tiny bounce? And I think that, again, is the big question. Looking at Solana, a little bit of an update as well. There's your 45-degree angle. As far as I'm concerned, this is still stuck within that 45-degree angle, which, interestingly enough, is makes it one of the better charts. I know that sounds weird, but listen, that's not hard to do in crypto land right now, to have a decent, it doesn't take much to be one of the better charts, as ugly as the charts are, but this is still holding within that range. Now, the one thing I don't like about it is you have this wide range red bar and these little inside bars, which gives you a micro bear, but inside of that is a macro bull, and that makes me still think it could go test this little level down here, this downsloping trend line, and the green line before potentially getting the next big move to the upside. Taking a look at Avalanche. Avalanche broke the recent lows here, but quickly snapped back. I like that Avalanche, again, has negated the down move yesterday. It's right back to this high. That is resistance right around $12. If it gets through that, you have this upsloping trend line right here that needs to be watched. That will be your next resistance level right up there. Let's look at XRP here real quick and see what we have on XRP. And again, XRP, same thing. Nasty down day yesterday, really nasty fall over the last week. But we did get a little bit of a technical bounce today. So that's moving back up just a little bit. We'll continue to monitor that and see how it all plays out. Other than that, let's take a look at Binance, which continues to kind of be in the crosshairs. But again, like I said yesterday, Binance showed good resiliency. Instead of free falling like an FTX or a Terra Luna, it did stabilize and bounce back over the weekend. Even after the down day yesterday, look at that, right back up today. To me, that's good. The bigger thing for Binance, and this will be good for the whole crypto market, is if we get through this level right here. If you can get back above 260, we'll call it $260 on Binance, and if it can stay there, that would be unbelievably bullish for Binance and by default bullish for all of crypto. So again, little things like this I'm paying attention to. Just like on Bitcoin, it doesn't tell me the lows in, but when I see a drop on the Terra Luna debacle of 45% on Bitcoin and then only a 25% drop on FTX, and FTX obviously was a bigger deal to the crypto markets, to me that's the beginning of the end of this bear market. So yes, we still have a few more months to go. We're just about to January, so you're going to have to get through 4 or 5 more months of hardship, but the end is near. And basically, I'm going to tell you guys this. When we get towards the end of that, you're going to see me with my HODL position almost fully decked out. All right, and what I mean by that is, I'll literally have a ton of money in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I probably won't have anything else in terms of my HODL portfolio. Swing trading is different. I'll have some in Solana. I'll have some in some other ones. But ultimately, you'll see me, and I will tell you guys, and right now I only have a 1/6 position in Bitcoin right now in my HODL portfolio. No Ethereum yet, just Bitcoin. But as we go lower, I will be adding to it. And again, I'm going to get ready because that next bull market, while it could take a few years to develop, will be exponentially huge. All right, and I say that specifically because with regulation, which will create transparency, finally big money in a major way will start getting involved in Bitcoin. And I really think that that creates the opportunity for it to go to $500,000 or $1 million per coin. So, in the scheme of things, holding it here, is it still okay? Yeah, I mean, you know what? You just got to ride it down technically, but again, every little bit down, you're able to buy more coins with the same amount of dollars. And that's the awesome part about it. Buying down in these lower levels, if we're going to get that type of run, there will be a ton of millionaires made in that next bull run. And I want to be clear, it's not going to be like, oh, we bought them in May or June, and then all of a sudden by December we're at all-time highs. No, it's going to take time. There's a lot of healing that has to be done. Keep in mind, when the dot-com bubble burst, it took Amazon and the rest of the dot-coms basically, and the NASDAQ, 15 years to go back to all-time highs. I don't think with crypto that's going to happen because you don't have the same you don't have the institutional involvement, and that's money that's sitting on the sidelines. But do I think it could take 5 years before we make a new all-time high? Yeah, I do. And it doesn't mean, by the way, that's fine, because if you're buying in at 15 or 17 or 12 or 10 or 9, it doesn't mean we're not going to go back to 30,000, which is like a 200% gain. I mean, that can be done very easily, but it's not obviously taking out 69,000. So just be aware of that, is that I think, you want to keep the short term in perspective, you want to keep the long term in perspective, and then figure out monetarily how you want to adjust and kind of, dip the toe in the water, but obviously leave yourself plenty of dry powder for when the lower lows potentially come. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. Take care.